All right, guys, let's talk about another type of custom audience that's very important to understand, which is the event-driven custom audience. So it's the same thing under website traffic here, but what you'll see actually is instead of choosing, all website visitors, people who visited specific web pages, or visitors by time spent, you can actually choose it from events. And before we actually go about setting this up, I want to explain something because there's a lot of confusion about the difference between custom conversions and just allowing the Facebook Pixel standard events to fire. And so first, we're going to talk about custom conversions. So when we come to custom conversions like this, how we signify that a conversion happened, right? Like a purchase, for example. What we would do is take this purchase URL, right, or the final URL, whether it's the thank you page of Shopify or whatever your website is, the final URL that shows after they make a purchase, and we come into custom conversions and we'd say URL contains, and we put that there, and we'd call this, Amazon FBA course conversion, right? And we would just call it purchase, and $9.97. And then we create this, right? And so that is one way of doing it. That is actually the way that I don't recommend people doing it. It's a way of doing it without actually having to install any custom code onto your website. But all you have to do is install the custom code one time and it's over, and then Facebook can just track things so much more efficiently for you. So this is the way I don't recommend doing it. But if you do want to do it this way, come into custom conversions and go ahead and set it up like that. We are going to do it this way. So if we go to business settings and come into pixels, here we are in the pixels section and we're looking at our pixel. So if we actually open up the pixel itself right here, and we come into where it says set up, once it loads, set up right here, what we can do is we can actually manually install the code ourselves. And I think a lot of people get overwhelmed by this a little bit, but it's actually quite easy. So this is the main code, right? This is where we put this is what we put right here in where it says settings, and we paste the whole code right there, right? And once we save that, always remember to save on this page. Once we save that, but that is tracking everything on this whole funnel, right? The sales page, the order page, the thank you page. But if we want to track specific events, we have to take one more step. So from this page where we just were, right? And I'll show you again. We just click setup, manually install your code. We copy and paste that, put it on the settings. Now we're gonna go to continue. Now it says add the events that you'd like to track, right? Because Facebook knows when people visit any of your web pages, but you have to tell them which web page specifically corresponds to which event. So if we want to track purchases, we can come in here and check purchases, and we're gonna put $9.97 for the conversion value, and we're gonna put US dollars, and then we're gonna copy this little snippet of code, right? And then on the thank you page, right? Because if somebody sees the thank you page, if the event fires that a user has seen this specific page, then we know that they've purchased and we know that they've spent $9.97 because that's the cost of the course, right? So we're gonna come into this specific funnel, and in settings, we're gonna go to tracking code. And we're just gonna paste that little snippet of code right here, right? So then every time someone sees this URL, it tells Facebook, okay, hey guys, this person has actually purchased and the value of that purchase is $9.97. And then this is gonna be, we're gonna be able to track this specific, we're gonna be able to track the actual return on investment of this ad campaign, because if we spent $100 to get this and showed our ad to 1,000 people, and then one person purchased for $9.97, then obviously we would have made the difference between our ad spend, which is $100, and $9.97, or an $897 profit. And so we're gonna save this, and it's literally that simple, guys. And so then let's say that we also wanted to track something else. Let's say that we wanted to track ad payment info, for example. So we want to know if somebody actually got to the stage of our funnel where they could actually add their payment information. So we know that that happens on the order page, right? This is the order page right here. That was the thank you page. This means purchase. Order page means that they're actually adding their payment info, right? And so what we're going to do is we're going to check add payment info. We're going to copy this little snippet of code. Again, come straight in here, add the tracking code, and I've already done it, but here it is, add payment info, right? Close it out, save it, and now every time somebody comes and visits this URL, it's gonna fire that event and it's gonna tell the Facebook Pixel, hey, this person added their payment info, right? And so then we can make custom audiences of anybody who's added their payment info, anybody who's purchased, right? Anybody who's done any specific, what's called a standard event, right? And Facebook is much more accurate at tracking this via code than custom conversion. So this is always the way that I recommend people to do it, setting up these little standard event snippets on the corresponding page, right? Add payment info is obviously on the order page. completed registration would be like after someone gives you their email for a webinar. Generate lead would be like on the initial page of your funnel, right? Because they're a lead if they enter your ecosystem and they even look at your sales page. Purchase, again, obviously is on the thank you page that shows after they make a purchase, right? So these are standard events, guys. Again, we got here just by clicking setup, manually install the code yourself, putting this on the funnel wide, right, which we showed, and I'll show one more time just really quick so everybody gets it. On the funnel wide settings, right, because the overall pixel tracks everything, right, but it doesn't know what specific web pages correspond to what specific event. It has no idea if this is a purchase page or an order page. You have to tell it what specific events correspond to what URLs, and that's what we just did right there by installing those little snippets on these specific pages. So this is where we put the overall code right here. And save it. And I know I've showed this a couple times, guys, but I understand that this is kind of complicated and it seems a little bit overwhelming, but it's actually not that bad, right? So then this is the very first page, and so we'll do the last one. I'd call that a lead, right? So we're going to come down to where it says generate lead, and we're going to copy this, and we're going to come to this first page here, the initial sales page. We're going to edit the page, and we're going to grab the tracking code right here, and we are going to put it right here at the bottom, right? So now it is going to say every time someone visits this page, Facebook's going to say, okay, that person is a lead, and then we're going to be able to retarget them, form custom audiences from them, etc., etc. So that is kind of the intro. So once we've done that, guys, it's going to make a lot more sense. So when we come back here and we actually go to create this custom audience, we're going to come to custom audience, and we're going to go to website traffic. And we're going to choose that same pixel. And then instead of doing website visitors like this, we're going to go to from your events, right? And so now we can make a custom audience of everyone who's added their payment info, for example, and we can, create a retargeting campaign saying, hey, like we saw that you were interested, that you added your payment info, but you haven't actually purchased yet. But one thing that we have to do to actually finalize that, for example, because everybody who's purchased has also added their payment info, right? And so we would have to exclude people, right, from your events who've purchased. So now this custom audience, and I hope you guys are getting this. I hope it's starting to click, right? Because this is super exciting. And now everyone who's added their payment info in the last 180 days, but we're excluding people who've purchased, right? So we're going to create a custom audience of everyone who's almost purchased but hasn't quite purchased, and then we're going to show them a very, very targeted retargeting advertisement saying, hey, you were almost there, you added your payment info, or you were on the order page. Like if there's anything we can do, to help you in your investment decision, feel free to shoot us an email, give us a call, add us on Messenger, whatever the case may be. And so we'd call this one, order page, but not thank you. And it's just another way of doing it how we did with the website URLs, right? And so that's kind of how you mess around with events. I just wanted to explain the difference between a custom conversion and using standard events. I always prefer to use standard events because Facebook is incredibly accurate using code, and people can just make mistakes when they're doing custom conversions by accidentally putting the wrong URL, or maybe you have two different funnels that have the same URLs, all right? And so just let Facebook track it for you using standard events. And so that is how you use events, and that is the important difference between custom conversions and using standard event code snippets to create very, very accurate custom audiences based off of event data directly from your pixel, guys. So I hope you enjoyed that one, and let's get to the next.